All right, we're going to work a few problems off of your solving equations on variables on both sides worksheet. There were only a couple of examples in your video, so I feel like it's better if we work a few of these out together. That way, you'll be more prepared to do some on your own. Now remember, I told you when I'm teaching equations and doing equations, I'll put a line down the middle where the equals mark is to show that there are two sides to the equation. Also, as a general rule of thumb, as a general way of doing these, I usually take the variable that's on the variable term on the left and get on the right and get rid of it. So over here on the right hand side, this is how I work it. It doesn't matter which you choose. You can take the 2n on the left hand side or the 3n on the right hand side and get rid of it. Now remember, in order to undo a positive 3n or to remove it from the right side, I do the opposite, so I'm going to subtract 3n. Also remember that if I do something to one side of an equation, it has to be done to the other. So I'm going to put minus 3n and I'm going to make sure it matches up, not under the 8 because there's no n on that, but underneath the 2n. So 2n take away 3n. If I try to take more away from the 2n take away 3n is going to put me into the negative. You can use a calculator and do 2 minus 3. But the new coefficient in front of the n is going to be negative 1. You also have the minus 8 on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, a negative 6. Then I want to, since I moved this letter here, moved it to the left-hand side, I want to take my number, use the opposite of subtract 8 to add 8 to get it off of the left-hand side. So I'm going to take the letter off of the right-hand side. I'm going to take the number off the left-hand side. Got to add 8 to both sides of the line or both sides of the equals mark. That will go away. I'll have negative 1n is equal to 2. So if you notice, once I move this one right here, the 3n over, what I have left is a two-step equation. So I'm going to move my number to the right-hand side, do plus 8 to both sides in order to eliminate the 8 on the left. Then I have to add 8 to the right if I'm going to eliminate it on the left. It gives me 2, keeps my equation balanced. Then the opposite of multiplying by negative 1 is dividing by negative 1. So I get a result of n equals negative 2. Now remember, we've learned that you can always check your answers with these problems. And so the way you do that when there's a variable on both sides is I take the n on the left, I'm going to replace it with negative 2. The n on the right, and I'm going to replace it with negative 2. Here I get negative 4 minus 8, which is negative 12. And here I get negative 6 plus negative 6, which is also negative 12. Well, if I plug in the variable on the left and right hand sides and I don't get the same number, the equations aren't equal. And I've done something wrong and I need to find my mistake. But again, you can check these by plugging negative 2 in for that n and this n and checking to make sure the left side balances with the right side. Right now we're going to do another one, number 2, negative 11 plus 5n equals 1 plus 3n. Again, as I said, just to kind of keep myself consistent in the way I do these things, I have n's on both sides. So I'm going to take the n that's over here on the right-hand side plus 3n and take 3n away. I'm going to write the takeaway 3n underneath, not the 11 because it doesn't have an n on it, but underneath it here. So I have both sides of my equation, I've taken away 3n. Here, that will give you 0, and you have to be left with a 1 on that side. I didn't do anything with the negative 11, and 5, that's a positive or plus 5. Take away 3 is a positive 2. Now I have moved my equation from having variables on both sides down to just like our two-step equation. So I'm going to take the term with the n in it, and I want to isolate it. So I want to move the 11 to the other side. That leaves a 2n on this side and a 12 on this side. I'm going to divide both sides by 2, and n will be 6. And again, I can check my work on this. I'll make a box right here. I'm going to do negative 11 plus 5 times 6. I'll replace that in with a 6. So that's a negative 11 plus 30, which is 19. Now I'm going to do it on this side. 1 plus 3 times 6 is 1 plus 18, and that also is 19. Again, if my left side and right side do not end up with the same value, they're not balanced, and my answer is incorrect. So the answer to this one is n equals 6. Okay, the third one on your worksheet, 4x plus 7 equals x minus 8, and that is 1x. So what I'm going to do is keep my same way of doing this, and I'm going to take the x that's on the right-hand side, so it's an x, so I'll take an x away. That will eliminate this. 4x, I wrote it underneath the one with the x, underneath the like term, not under the 7. 4 take away 1 is 3x, but I haven't done anything with the 7 yet, and there's a negative 8 left on the right side. That moves us back down to our two-step equation problems that we were doing before, because we have this term with the 3x, want to isolate it, so the opposite of adding 7 is taking 7 away. Then on this side we'll have 3x, and on this side negative 15. Puts us down to one step. The opposite of multiplying is dividing, and we get x is equal to negative 5. If I wanted to check this, then I could come over here and I can put a negative 5 in that spot. 4 times negative 5 plus 7, negative 20 plus 7, negative 13. I also want to do it on the other side. Negative, change the x to a 5, to an x to a negative 5. Negative 5 minus 8 is also negative 13, so I have the correct answer. When I put in negative 5 for the x on one side and the other side, I get the same value out. That means my equation is balanced and my answer is correct. Number 4, negative 11 minus 3k equals negative 5k plus 1. Again, I'm going to kind of keep the same pattern. I'm going to take the k on the right-hand side and eliminate it. So the opposite of negative 5k is positive 5k. What you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other. I do not write the 5k under the 11 because it doesn't have a k on it. I want to match up my like terms. That cancels. I have a 1 on that side. I have my negative 11 I haven't done anything with yet. Negative 3 plus 5 is 2k. I'm on to my two-step equation that I was working on the other day. So all we're doing is adding one step. Isolate the term with the k in it by adding 11 to both sides. Opposite of negative 11 is positive 11. Got 2k on this side and 12 on this side. Down to my one step. Opposite of multiplying is dividing. K turns out to be 6. I want to check my answer. One side of my equation says negative 11 minus 3 times K, which is 6. Negative 11 minus 18 is negative 29. The other side is negative 5 times K, which is 6, plus 1. That's negative 30 plus 1, negative 29. They balance out, so my answer is correct. Now, it's up to your teacher and up to you whether you want to check, between the two of you, whether you want to check your answers like I'm doing, but I'm just showing you how the left and the right-hand side turn out to be the same when K is 6. It balances the equation, so it's the correct answer. And lastly, I'll do number 5 with you, and then I'm going to let you work on some on your own, the rest of the worksheet on your own. All right, so I have a line down the middle. I want to work with eliminating the K on the right side. So the opposite of subtracting 2K is adding 2K. Make sure I write it underneath on the other side. I have to do what I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other. I'm going to write it right underneath the K to keep those lined up and the like terms together. I haven't done anything with the 1. Negative 4K plus 2K. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2, so it's negative 2K. Negative 3 on this side, because this goes away. I want to isolate my term with the K in it, so I'm going to take the 1 away. So that's negative 2K on that side, and negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. Feel free to use a calculator to do your positives and negatives if you're not comfortable with that. Then I'm down to my one step of equation, which is opposite of multiplying is dividing. So negative 4 divided by negative 2 is positive 2. Again, I'm going to do a check because I want to make sure I did it right. So 1 minus 4 times 2 is 1 minus 8, or negative 7. That's where I replace the K right there. Now I'm going to replace this K. Negative 3 minus 2 times 2, changing the K to a 2. Negative 3, 2 times 2 is 4. Negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. The equation balances out. Now I invite you to continue this worksheet and do the rest of the problems on it. If you need any help, just ask your classroom teacher or send me a message. Thank you. Bye-bye.